right. It is officially 19:05. Just um, we should kick off. Welcome everybody to the session this evening. We are doing an open mic session, and in the custom of open mic sessions are about you, for you, and this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions, and we can then tackle your questions in as much detail as possible. So, before we get going on that tip, if you can just go into the chat and just let us know where you are joining us from this evening, we'll highly appreciate that. I see a couple of people have started putting in messages in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that. So, I see Agita from Nigeria. Welcome. Just put in your messages in there. If you're joining from a mobile type device, at the bottom right of your screen, there are three dots. You click on those, and the option that you are looking for, the menu item, is in call messages. You can then type in your messages there. And if you are joining from a desktop type device, at the bottom right of the screen, there is a chat icon. You can then click on that and yeah, type your message. So I acknowledge Tokomolefe joining in from South Africa. Good to be here. Perpetua joining in from Cape Town, South Africa. Welcome, 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 everyone. All right. And I think this is a good time to just say, while you are putting in your messages in the chat, also put in your questions. I think we have quite an intimate group this evening. So this is an opportunity for you to feel free. Ask any question that you need to ask, any question you've had. What don't you know about? What you think you need to know about? And I think towards the end of this session, there's some really exciting announcements that I will be making for this evening. So, yes. Um, Bandile joining from Mgungundlovu, Azania. Uh, Naomi, greetings, Naomi from Jamaica. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So I think just um, let's use the um, you can come off mute and ask questions. So I think one thing that I will be talking about in a little bit is we are streamlining how we are doing meetings. You would have seen, if you're in any of the WhatsApp groups or chat groups, you would have seen an announcement that Dr. Chong put in, and that announcement pertains to the Sunday meetings. So the Sunday sessions that we've been hosting will officially be taken over by the State of the African Diaspora and hosted from there by Dr. Chong herself. And she will be doing some exciting things in those sessions. So do not miss out on those Sunday sessions. And just so that we do not drop anything, we are streamlining in terms of our streamlining. We will still be training you to be a coach. So, which means when you come to the Thursday sessions that we will be having at 7 o'clock South Africa Standard Time, you will be empowered with information that you literally can take back into your networks and be able to organize yourselves, organize your communities, and be able to empower everybody in there. And the the WhatsApp sessions will continue, where we are doing an introduction to Lumi on WhatsApp, and those sessions are on Fridays. We are having those specifically to address the data challenges that a lot of people are having. And as part of that, we are doing this on WhatsApp. So I know in South Africa, there's night shift data, which is cheaper and a little bit more accessible. So um, people will be able to download those sessions and actually listen to them do using that kind of data. So that's quite exciting. So if you or anyone in your network is being introduced to the Lumi digital currency, and they have you are struggling with the material on what to tell them, or information on how to introduce this, this is an opportunity for you to actually send them the invite to that um, Friday session. And at that Friday session, they will get all the information that they need around what is the Lumi, how it came to be, who is issuing the Lumi. I think we had quite an interesting question on yesterday's session. And that question was somebody saying, what exactly is this Lumi? We understand some rich person is giving it away as donations. So you can only understand the level and the amount of misinformation that is out there. So hence we are having this session, and we will be having the Thursday session so that we can empower you and also put out the right information so that people know that now that I have this currency, what am I supposed to do with it? Um, when, because I mean, the other questions that we get quite frequently, where can I exchange it? Um, who takes this type of currency? So these platforms are an avenue where we are addressing all these questions. And specifically on Saturdays, where we have been doing our open mic sessions, we will be moving on to use Saturdays to specifically target talking about building of ecosystems. And anybody that has had this word ecosystems, you would understand the importance of actually doing this. And maybe just to highlight that at the moment, we have ecosystems that are existing um, in our localities, in our countries, in our provinces, and those ecosystems have been built in such a way that they have excluded the masses of the people from actually benefiting from them. So if you think about it this way, and I make this example, and people in Africa or in South Africa specifically will understand. If we talk about milk, right now, if I want to milk, I will go to a shop. I will go to one of the big retailers in this country, and I will purchase milk using my fiat currency. And you need to understand that milk was delivered to that particular retailer by some big organization that is owned by people who are not of African descent, and all the way to the person who has that cow that produces the milk actually is people who are not majority of African descent. I know there's been transformation in the space of farming and all that. However, in the main, this is still a problem. And this means the majority of people of African descent are excluded from benefiting from all these ecosystems. The cow that produces the milk belongs to other people. The people who package that milk, the company belongs to other people. The people who transport the milk from the farm to the retailer where you are going to access it, all these all this ecosystem of getting a carton of milk at the shop is owned by other people. So uh, we either you either have an opportunity here to say, okay, um, I will go and get a farm, uh, get a cow, um, get a tracking company. So this is us. How are we going to build these ecosystems? And the only way we transition from using the currency that is imposed on us, that is valueless, because continually, when policies are passed, the currencies that we have in our nations are devalued without because they don't really have any backing, right? So how do we then transition from moving on from this? fiat currencies onto the currencies that the like the Lumi that actually have value and that actually will benefit us. And this currency that is the Lumi is a currency that is in our hand, and it's an opportunity that when we actually transition to moving into using this currency, we have the upper hand. So we will get to dictate how things are run, how ecosystems, and also you have the opportunity that if you to decide where are you going to buy, are you going to go buy at one of these major retailers, or are you going to support a business that is serving your interests and your needs? So those are all the things that will be discussed going forward on the Saturday sessions. And as mentioned, then the Sunday session will be the uh, summit, and that summit, all things Lumi, all things SOAD, all things that pertain to the ministries of SOAD, the educational faculty of SOAD, all of those will be discussed in the Sunday summits. And coming back, culminating to the Monday session, which is our um, NetFem sessions Monday. And on Mondays, the practical online session, I think we are still at discussing how to create value added products. And that's going to continue until the end of this month, until we move on to the next subject. So I've said a mouthful. Um, but yeah, those are some really interesting and exciting things that will be happening in the next week. So, and I think we are really looking to start next week with this new structure. And as part of that, we'll be transitioning to a different platform. And I think I've made announcements on this particular item that we'll be transitioning to using Glue VP. And if you were in the Sunday session where the prof introduced Glue VP, you will understand that Glue VP is a platform that has been created on the African continent by Africans, uh, so that it actually is something that is quite excellent, and it competes with all the platforms that are out there. It competes with the Google Meets, the Zooms of this world, the Teams of this world. So this is an exciting opportunity. And as mentioned, as part of building ecosystems, you have to decide to use things that are owned and produced by people that you know what they believe in and you believe in the same thing. So hence we are transitioning from Google Meet onto Glue VP. So that's going to be an exciting thing. Okay. So I think I've said quite a lot. Um, is there any questions, any comments? Please feel free to come off mute and ask your question. And I mean, right now you can ask a question about anything. It can be about the structure that I was just explaining. It can be about the Lumi, the NetFem, anything. Please feel free to come off mute at this point and ask your question.
Hello, Lerato. Yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Lerato, yes. Yeah.
Yes, Perpetua.
I wanted to know something on fiat. Is it fiat currency or
Mhm.
fiat? I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing it right. What is it and how does it work? Fiat. I hope you understand what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Yes. Can you explain a bit more on that? I need to know more about that. How does it work, and what it is actually. Thank you.
Okay. So, in the world, there is effectively two categories of currency, and that would be fiat currency and non-fiat currency. And so that you can understand what fiat currency is, maybe let me explain, go back many, many generations when currency actually got developed, right? So when currency got developed, people had a system of bartering. So you had bread, Perpetua, and I had milk, and I wanted your bread, you wanted my milk. We would then exchange. So that was the system that was in use. People bartered. And when this system of economics actually evolved, it evolved in such a way that um, it was not necessarily convenient for me to carry my milk, let's say, to 2 towns away and sell it there, exchange it there for something that I needed. And so then people transitioned to using gold and silver. So those were some of the commodities that actually started to be used. And when people started using those commodities, you have to understand carrying around gold is not like carrying around a piece of paper in your pocket. So that was also quite labor intensive, and um, also other things involved. You could get mugged, and so uh, that's when governments started to transition to saying, okay, we will take your gold, Perpetua, we will put it in the bank, and we will give you a piece of paper. And when you have that piece of paper, you can go to anyone and give them this piece of paper and say, okay, this piece of paper says if you take it to the bank, you will be able to access the gold that I have deposited there at the bank. And that became how the money evolved, right? Money came into being. The paper money that we are currently using came into being. However, this currency that got introduced was non-fiat because it had a backing. It had three main characteristics. This paper money that you could exchange with me at that point. One, it had the current characteristics that it was a store of value. So, which means if I got your money, if you gave me this piece of paper, I can go to the bank and exchange it for the gold that you stored there, and I'll get gold, right? So, it was a store of value. It was used as a means of accounting. So, people could then understand if I give you a paper that's written 10 on it, it means you get, and I make an example, you get 10 gold bars at the bank. So, it was a means of accounting. And so effectively, this paper money had intrinsic value because it was backed by a commodity. And that is one of the major differentiators between fiat currency and non fiat currency. Fiat currency, non fiat currency has intrinsic value. So, which means if you take it and you go to the bank and say, I don't want this paper anymore, I want the equivalent of this paper, then they will give you whatever the commodity that backs that particular currency. So then you get to understand that fiat currency uh, does not have any intrinsic value. Effectively, I understand Perpetua in South Africa. If you have 100 rand in your pocket right now, and you go to the bank and you say, okay, I don't want this paper 100 rand anymore. Please give me the equivalent of this 100 rand paper note that you I've been carrying around. The bank, the Reserve Bank of South Africa, will not give you anything because that money that we have that we use in South Africa, in the majority of countries in the world, is not backed by a commodity. So there is nothing in the bank, in the reserve banks, that they are keeping to say this is how much your money is actually worth. So, which means the value of the money is dictated by anybody and anyhow people actually decide to say. I mean, if you go back a couple of years back, the rand was um, in a state where it could compete with the US dollar. However, right now we standing, I think, at almost 15 rand or just over 15 rand in the past couple of days, to $1. And this is because there is no backing for the rent. So anybody, how this currencies are valued. They will tell you that it's based on supply and demand, and the markets determine the exchange rates. However, the reality is that these currencies that are backed by nothing can just be valued at whatever. I think I watched a clip from somebody in Nigeria a while ago, and he was asking a question in that clip that um, a couple of years ago, the um, Federal Reserve Bank told Nigerians that this is how much your naira must be worth, and they devalued their naira to be what it's worth then, and now they are not able to compete on the global market because they devalued their naira, right? And this is how the economic system of the world actually works. Um, we work on fiat currency that has no backing. So it is anybody's game how much the paper money that you have in your pocket is actually worth. So I hope that answers your question, Perpetua.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for clarifying. I had misconceptions on the Fiat thing, but yeah, it's getting clearer now. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Memolefe, I see your comment in the chat. Can't wait to hear about new developments from SWORD. I guess there are many exciting developments since teams have been crisscrossing governments and central banks. Yes. And that's some of the things that will be addressed in the Sunday summits. And the ministers from the various departments of SWORD will be able to come and actually talk about what they are doing, what their progress is, and yeah, so it really interesting things that will be coming in the next coming summits. So do not miss the Sunday sessions, do not miss the Sunday summits. They're going to be quite exciting. So yes. Greetings, Andy from Trinidad and Tobago. And Balisa sees she's just checked today. The dollar is worth 14.51 rents. So thank you for that, Balisa. Yeah, so keep your questions coming. Um, you can ask any question about anything that you don't understand. People have asked you. I mean, if you have actually had a conversation with anyone about the Lumi digital currency, there's bound to have been a couple of questions that are mind-boggling. People think about seriously mind-boggling questions. So this is your opportunity to ask. Let's have them addressed. Feel free to come off mute at this point and ask your question or make a comment, share your experience. Um, yeah. Okay, so I have been known to uh, ask people questions in the room, so I'm just gonna ask.
Sorry, hello.
Hi, Bandile.
Let me jump in because since nobody's wanting to ask a question. So basically, it's not, yeah, it's a question, but then it's more much of a comment, and I'm also asking for a solution to this problem because every day I introduce Lumi to people. I always try to find new people. As like today, I have registered second person, and but I haven't sent him the link to join in the other groups where he's gonna get informational packs because I sent him the link to join into my group.
Well done.
So what I seem to find is that people think of this as much of a conspiracy more than the real thing. Like I was seeking some knowledge in like probably finding a solution to that, because I always try to show them the information that I have, but still they always gonna have a negative comment or something.
Mm. That's
So
yeah.
yeah, basically that's what I needed enlightenment on. Yeah, I can
Okay.
say.
Let me give Palisa an opportunity to answer this while I catch my breath, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. Palisa, do you want to talk about
Yeah.
that?
I apologize. I got distracted on my side. Could you please repeat the question, Bandile?
Issue. Like I wanna find a solution, because like I try to, even with the information that I have, I always try to change the mindset of how people see this, because they see it as much of a dream, a dream that probably will never be accomplished. So like I need I wanna can you probably tell me a solution to that?
Oh, okay. It's basically a mindset shift thing that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to talk about my own experience, and
Hmm.
perhaps we can also all relate to how you would feel, or how you sort of like reflect back on yourself. And when you do talk to somebody else, you talk from something like a reflection of self. So with myself, um, I'm not just talking Lumi now. I'm talking
Yeah.
Palisa at a personal level to say, when I think of Palisa and her life, what do I see and what do I believe? I had a very tough time um, believing that I am worthy of anything, or even dreaming. It was something that I would really, really feel scared to do. However, in my heart, there would be times I would feel like I'm worthy of something, but there would also be something that scares me to dream. But then it was only that time when I said to myself, you've got to be open minded to do things which are different. You've got to be open minded to be coachable. You've got to be open minded. So I started asking myself what I call empowering questions. Questions that said, what do you want? What are you willing to do to get what you want? So you need to learn, Balisa. In learning, you need to apply that. And that is going to take time. Why? Because already I'm used to thinking in a certain way. So it's a mindset, it's a paradigm that needs to be, you need to reprogram your mind. And that's where that now, when I realized I had that weakness, I started working on that part to say, I need to start dreaming. I need to start being, looking for things that excite me. And when I do that, guess what? You become confident. You become um, confident in yourself and your capabilities, and you start appreciating the differences that you have against, like the difference that other people may have against what you have. And in those differences, you're not picking any sides. It's just that we are different, and you appreciate the differences and the uniqueness of every person that you meet. That's when you grow. And for me, it's a process. It is not a one day solution, because you one cannot can you can never be stagnant. So that's where I start. I start at self. Where am I? What am I willing to do? What am I willing to do? And you look at people who are at a level where you want to go, and you start studying what they've done. And most of the stuff that they do, they're the same. So you follow those principles. You find, and the nice thing about the universe is that once you start asking questions, it's like that thing that the answers will come. It won't be automatic, but it's a
Mm,
process. So you've got to understand that when somebody says, I'm going to go back now to Lumi, to say,
mm,
maybe Lumi is like, for most people, we will say, "No, I just want to buy bread because that's what I want now." But then when you understand the vision behind the Lumi, you emphasize, or you put emphasis on that. You try to reprogram for people to see that bigger picture. You don't want them to see only the here, the now, but you want to take their minds
mm,
from from next year to the next 5 years to the next 10 years. And that It's not gonna be something that happens today and you're done. It's a process. It's something that you need to it's a gradual process that you need to be patient with yourself first. That's why I love the NetFM program. It speaks about the self. Empower yourself first. And when you are empowered, it'll be very easy for other people to want to follow or to want to be eager to say, what have you done? How can I follow? You see, so you can't force other people, but you can start reprogram yourself. And that's where again I find it very, very fascinating. I used to think if I think this way, that's the way it should be, which is not the right way. It's my view. Other people have got their views as well. So I need to be
Yeah.
open-minded to look at a problem. If there's a problem that I'm looking at, in this case, I'm willing to look at Lumi from different angles, and I want to see what you see. I want to see, or to also view or voice what I'm seeing as well. You see, so in that way, we are reprogramming our mental or our mindsets, not only to just think about the here and the now, the eat and finish, but to say, I'm planting a seed. And this seed needs to be looked after. How do I do that? I need to start and I'll keep on learning. And the more I learn, the more I apply, guess what? You are empowering not only yourself, you are influencing those around you as well. So that's where it starts. It is not something that can happen in one day or two. It is a
Mhm,
process. It is a
mhm.
process. That's what I can say for now on that subject of mindset. It's a
Yes.
subject on its own. So be patient. It's gonna take time.
No
So
problem.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I am.
it's a
Yes,
process.
I'm patient.
Yeah,
A
I think
process.
Thank you.
thank you so much, Palisa, and that was really deep that you just explained there. I think over and above, Bandile, the reality is there is a world system that is in place, and everybody in the world has been programmed to comply and play in that particular world system. So if you're going to bring something that is not in line with that thinking and that world system, obviously you're going to encounter skepticism. And I think just linking with this with Toko's comment in the chat, we in South Africa have been scammed too much. Now people are skeptical. Perhaps we need to use live mainstream media. Can we perhaps talk to the media people we know? So we ask one of our leaders to go and present at the media houses. So I put in a link in the chat where His Royal Highness Timothy McPherson was on SABC News channel, and he was doing an interview on this Lumi digital currency. So feel free to take that link and watch it and distribute it among your networks. But my point is, if you're going to try and solve a problem, it was Einstein who said, you cannot solve a problem at the same level as the problem. You need to go to a higher level. And it was our beloved icon, Nelson Mandela, who says, it is impossible until it is done. So right now, what we want to do with this digital currency is a mammoth task. It's huge. However, it is only when we are there that people will actually say, these people actually had a thing going. So uh, even when people are skeptical, even when people are not sure, and what Dr. Chong usually says is, we are not forcing anyone. Let them see the fruits, and it is only by the fruit that they will see that what kind of a tree this is. All right, Naomi, I see you're off mute.
Yes. When I'm in explaining to persons what I normally do, well, here people know about IPOs. And so I will use that to say this is an ICO, an initial coin offering, and some of them may have heard of Bitcoin and all of that. And I'm saying with most initial coin offering, you are asked to buy in at a cheap price until it goes to market. Now, with the Lumi is using this as their marketing tool where they are giving you, so you're not paying anything. Because most persons, once you tell them about something, they'll ask you how much, and because they want to know what is it that's going to cost them. No, this is not costing you anything. You are actually getting. And then I tell them about that and what they're getting, and they get use the opportunity to explain further what the Loom is about, and the whole sword and Echo 6 and all of that. And from that point of view, you may get a bit more understanding. Yes, they will ask a question about where they can use it for and all of that. And then you will get in to tell them some of what Petula or no, Policia said earlier. So it's a matter of how you package the information, and give it to them. And then, as Felicia said, if they're skeptic, you just take your time, you live, you continue, you speak, and keep knocking and sharing how best you can. Use all the tools that are provided on the various platforms, and take your time and be gentle with yourself, as she said.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing, Naomi. Yeah, so I see a comment from Chief Oketa. Some luminaries from Nigeria had asked for 100% sponsorship to Ghana from Jamaica. After invitation letter was extended to 6 participants, a few minutes ago we got info that we can no longer go on their sponsorship. We can uh, what can we do now when we have Lumi in our Lumi accounts? Can we use Lumi uh, to foot the trip? Um, Chief Oketa, I see your comment, and I think we had Dr. Chong speak to this a while ago, and I understand you're saying a few minutes now you got different information. So I'm going to take your question and pass it back to Dr. Chong, and your comment back to Dr. Chong, and we'll give you feedback on this as soon as we have additional feedback. Because well, from what I remember of her response on the Ghana tour was that it was going to be part Lumi and part Fiat. So I suppose if that was the case, then you could still use part of the Lumis that you have, but you need to have Fiat as well. So I'll pass that question on. Don't hold me to what I just said, but I'll pass your question on and we'll see what response we get back. Thank you so much for your question. Uh, are there any other questions, comments, experiences anybody wants to share? Please feel free to come off mute.
Hello, everyone. My own experience with Lumi for the short time that I've been exposed to it is when I talk to people, yeah, they're so hesitant because a lot have been scammed. So what I do now, I normally show them my account to say, okay, I've been a recipient of this Lumi for this month. Look at my account. And some will say, oh, what is this? So many zeros and stuff like that. So at least when they see something, they will say, okay, 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 let me try. So I've realized that if we continue to build the ecosystems and they see changes in our lives, I think it's going to be a bit easier for them to come on board because they'll be seeing something tangible, and they will understand it better when they see changes, our lives are being transformed for the better. I think that will make our job easier as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Perpetua, for that. And that is truth, gospel truth. See, there is no better way to make disciples than to actually show them that this is, you guys know me, this is how my life was, this is how it is now, this is how my health was, and this is how it is now, this is how my financial standing was, and this is how it is now. So once people can see that, you then become the gospel that they read through you, and it's easy for them to adopt. And yeah, uh, very true, very true. Thank you for sharing, Perpetua. And people are putting together various strategies. And one thing that I, I must tell you about South Africans specifically, South Africans are the most skeptical people, I'm sure, on the whole continent, because um, yes, there's been a lot of scams, to an extent that when you tell people that you don't pay anything, they still think it's a scam, right? So yeah, but it's not it's not about trying to convince them, but it's about trying to show them that there has been a difference and an impact in your own life, and that's something that is easier for people to follow. Okay. Are there any other questions before we move on to the announcements? Please feel free to come off mute uh, and ask your question. Okay, I am not seeing anybody else come off mute. Going once, going twice. All right. Uh, okay. The link for tomorrow will be the same as the one that you used today. Um, The changes will in the link will be from next week, and maybe that's just a good segue into the announcement. You'd see announcement for there. We'll be transitioning to our meetings to Glue VP. The links will be posted in the WhatsApp groups. If you're not part of any of the Lumi for Africans WhatsApp groups, uh, please let me know, or better yet, if I can ask Balesa for you to put the links for those the WhatsApp group into the chat, we'll highly appreciate that. Um, then you can all the sessions will be posted, the new links will be posted in those groups, and you will be kept informed on what's going on. And I mentioned the Lumi presentations on WhatsApp that are happening every Thursday. The next one is on the 22nd of October at 7 p.m. Please make sure that you send out the links put in the WhatsApp groups. So when you get that link, send it out to your contacts so that this presentation on WhatsApp does all the work for you. It's an introduction and gives out all the information. And you literally will send out the link to your people, and they come onto that and they listen to the whole presentation end to end. And you really will not need to talk much about anything. They will then come back to you and you can help them register. So that's going on 7 p.m. Just make sure that everybody's on the group at by 7 p.m. so that because the group closes at 7 p.m. so that only the people who have joined at that point they can be able to go through with that presentation. The next Sunday Summit is happening tomorrow, 7 p.m. South Africa Standard Time. Please convert to your local time zones. Interesting things will be happening on those summits, so just be on the lookout. I mentioned we are transitioning to Glue VP on the 21st of October. Um, and we will be posting out the new links to the sessions accordingly in the WhatsApp groups. And 18 October, that is this coming Monday, the next NetFem practical online session will be happening, where it still be dealing with value added products. This is happening 4 p.m. South Africa Standard Time, and we will be the please make sure that you are um, are aware of the time zone differences, and the links for those have actually been put out in the various WhatsApp groups already. So I'm gonna put in the link. Was it the link? Oh, it's the recording from the previous session, and the link for the next session is already in there. I'm gonna put in that in the chat. Once copy and paste works. Um, okay, that is in the chat for the Monday session, the next practical online session that's on value added products. And noting that Thursdays, if you are registered for the Lumi and your intention is to actually register other people, we consider you a coach. And as a coach, one, you need to empower yourself. So the Thursday sessions are for us. We are training the trainers. So we are giving you all the information that you need to actually train other people to become coaches. And so, yeah, if you've registered for the Lumi, join for that session. If you have people that have registered under you and they're registering other people, feel free and to invite them to those Thursday sessions. And I think by way of announcements, those are the announcements. Um, as mentioned, uh, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this evening. If you need to reach out to us, we are at lumiforafricans@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Lumi for Africans on YouTube. You will find all the recordings to our latest sessions and anything that recordings wise that we make on how to register yourself, how to contact the Swift back office. All of those are on that Lumi for Africans YouTube channel. So just before I wrap up this evening's session, just mention Chief Ogeta, your question is noted and we'll pass it along and we'll have the information sent back to you accordingly. All right. I
All right,
just,
so
yes, Naomi.
you said something about transitioning to PBT or something like that. I'm not sure I got that. What was that you were saying? It was transitioning you were talking about.
Yes, transitioning to a platform. So the platform that we are using now, Google Meet, we will be moving off this platform and actually starting to use a platform called Glue Virtual Platform, Glue VP. So that's
Okay,
going to
okay.
be the new platform where we are hosting our meetings from.
Okay, okay, okay. Got you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And on that note, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this evening. We appreciate your time. Thank you for your questions and your comments. Really, iron sharpens iron. And yeah, let's meet again and at the summit tomorrow, uh, 7 p.m. South Africa Standard Time. Thank you so much and good evening, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Good
you,
evening.
Janelle.
Bye. Bye.